So today I just want to cover a quick new tool for Unreal Engine called Altermesh. What Altermesh does is it allows you to import in Blender geometry nodes inside of Unreal Engine and gives it something like HDA type functionality. So what you see here is a um, popular tool right now called Buildify that allows you to create procedurally generated buildings. And if I simply drag and drop this to our scene, you'll see that a procedurally generated building is created. From here, I can make adjustments on the controls exposed by geometry nodes. So for example, if I set the max number of floors to 12, you'll see that it comes up to 12 floors. If I hit 4, it shrinks down to 4 floors, etc. Um, there's some other things that we can do as far as changing the shape of this building that we'll first need to make some edits to the Buildify file before we can get that, and we'll do that at a later session. For right now, I just kind of want to cover some basic setup as well as some of the generic features of the tools. Um, so as far as setup, you basically copy and paste the Altermesh files into your Unreal plugins folder. From there, you should be able to go to Settings, Plugins, type in Altermesh, and enable it. And then after that, you can go into Settings, Project Settings, type in Altermesh again, and it'll ask you for an executable path to your blender.exe. From there, you should be able to right-click inside of your Unreal Content browser, hit Import, and import in any Blender file that has a geometry node set up, and it should show up as an Altermesh file inside of the content browser. Now, obviously, we'd be able to duplicate this and create a second building. Right? But really, this isn't the way you should work. There's some edits, like I said, that you can do to the Buildify file to allow it to work a little bit better inside of the Unreal Engine. The last thing I want to show before wrapping up this quick kind of intro to Altermesh is to kind of show some of the advantages it has over the at least the generic HDA Project Titan building tool. So one of the things that I ran into using Project Titan is that when I converted one of the buildings, it would make it a single object instead of maintaining all of the instances that I have, right? So it created a very large footprint. For Altermesh, we're able to use a few different options. So for example, I can set this to say, let's say 8, right? And when I hit this convert button, I have some choices as far as how I wanted to handle the conversion. I can convert it to foliage instances. This is really good if you're scattering stuff on the ground or something like that. I can convert it to a static mesh or convert it to a combined static mesh. Now, by default, this is what Houdini does. It combines all of the static meshes into a single object. I don't want to do that. What I actually want to do is convert it to a static mesh. So I'm just going to select this. And you see here we have this option to combine mesh. We don't want that. Now for build settings, this is stuff that we'd usually be able to choose based on our different static meshes. So yes, use McT. That's fine. We can recompute tangents. We don't want lightmap UVs. We're going to be using Lumen. The rest of this should be fine. And then let's check our nanite settings. Yes, we do want nanite enabled. And then the converter steps, you'll see that it's creating 28 new elements. Now, what this is basically all of the little pieces that this building consists of, we create a new mesh for, right? So this is going to be like a floor, a wall, etc. You notice too that this has a create new mesh option. So rather than create a new mesh, if we have a mesh already in our engine, we can just use existing mesh. So we'll hit convert. Now it'll ask us where we want to save all of these files and kind of how we want to name them. So we'll create a new folder. We'll call it meshes. And then here we'll just say building static mesh. Or in fact, we'll just say SM building. And just hit save. So it's going to take a minute, but what you'll see eventually is it will create a folder here under Altermesh that will have all of these static meshes, and this will become a new blueprint. Now, sometimes I do have some worries with blueprint in the sense of here they are. Right, so it looks like I probably should have put an underscore before that in order to kind of get some better naming here. We can probably make some edits, maybe even on the code in order to do that a little bit better. But what you'll see is it created a new blueprint, and all of those instance static meshes or static meshes are inside this blueprint, right? It's nice, it's fairly optimized. It keeps a very light footprint on it. And what you can also see is that if I add a new Buildify node or a new Buildify object into the scene, actor into the scene, and I select it and hit convert, I now have the option to use existing meshes instead of creating new ones. So this keeps it, very light and consistent across your projects. Really, some very useful tools, even compared to what HDA's offered. I'm going to dive in a little bit more and do a little bit more tutorials. Also, kind of cover some edits into Buildify to allow us to actually convert this from a building generator to a full city generator that's nice and highly optimized, as well as cover how to replace some of these pieces in Buildify in order to create different types of buildings. That's it for today, however. Thank you so much for taking a minute to listen, and I hope that helped out.